Hello everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Destiny video. This is another draft deck video. So tonight I drafted with three friends. We each brought 6 packs. We again did two, two, and two. So two Awakenings, two Spirit of Rebellion, and two Empire at War. This week I drafted all red. So the deck I got here, we're running General Veers, Magna Guard, and Lobot from the draft set. So, Veers has 9 health, 11 points. He has 1 range, 2 range, plus 2 range, shield, resource, and blank. And as an action, you can remove this die to turn one of your support dice to any side. We're running a Magna Guard for 8 health for 9 points, 1 melee, 2 melee for a resource, 2 melee for a resource, shield, resource, and blank. And before this character will be defeated by damage, instead defeated after this round ends. And we have 1 Lobot. So 9 health for 10 points, 1 range damage, focus, shield, resource, special, and blank. And while you control the battlefield, this character has the Guardian keyword. And special is resolve one of your dice, increasing its value by 2. And since we are running the Rebel War or Magna Guard, we're running the Rebel War Room. So claim, resolve one of your dice. If it has a resource cost, you do not have to pay it. Got quite a few dice in this set that have resource costs. So into our upgrades, I have had one A180 blaster, 3 cost, 2 range plus 2 range disrupt, special blank, and then there's 3 options for the special. So deal 1 damage to a character and give the attached character 1 shield, deal 1 damage to each of an opponent's characters, or deal 2 unblockable damage to a character. We had 1 supply pack from the draft set, 1 cost, exhaust this upgrade to reroll any number of the attached character, or upgrade dice. So if I put it on Veers, let's say with like the A180, I can reroll any number of those dice. We had a T21 repeating blaster, 3 cost, 2 range plus 2 range, disrupt, resource, special for a resource, and a blank, and it deals 2 damage to a character. Then you may reroll this die instead of removing it from your pool. 1 Vibro Sword from the draft set, cost 3, 1 melee, 3 melee for a resource, plus 2 melee, discard resource and blank, and it also has redeploy. And finally, we have 1 Wingman. 0 cost, red character only. After you activate a red character, you may activate the attached character. So I normally would throw this on Lobot, and when I rolled in Veers, Lobot would roll in as well. Into our supports, I had 1 Aftermath, 0 cost. After a character is defeated, gain 1 resource. We had 1 Bespin Wingguard from the draft set. 1 cost, as an action, exhaust this support, and spend 1 resource to force an opponent to choose and discard a card from their hand. We had E-Web in placement. This is also works with the Rebel War Room. So 3 cost, 1 range damage, 1 range damage for a resource, 2 range damage, 2 range damage for a resource, 2 shields, and blank. While you control the battlefield, the value on each of this die's sides is increased by 1. So it goes, essentially goes to 2, 2, 3, 3. We had 1 Fang Fighter from the draft set, 3 cost, 2 range damage, 3 range damage, discard a shield, resource, and blank. Also has ambush. And finally, 1 Outpost. 2 resources, focus, disrupt, 2 disrupt, shield, special blank, and special is resolve the battlefield ability as if you had just claimed it. I actually had this go off in one game where I was able to resolve Magna Guard using the special on the Outpost. Into our events, have 1 Battle Formation, 0 cost, has ambush. Count the number of red characters you have. You may reroll that many of your dice. So 3 red characters means I get to reroll up to 3 dice. Or reroll 3 dice, I should say. We had 1 Closing the Net. This actually won me 1 game, so I was able to keep from getting milled out by using this and putting it back in my deck. So I kept postponing the game by 1 round. So I used it, put it back in my deck, drew it the next game. It got discarded or the next round, got discarded, and then I was still able to do enough damage by using this and having it go back into my deck. So 1 Closing the Net, we have 1 Emulate, 0 cost, turn a character die to any side if there are 2 or more copies of that character in play. This didn't actually, I didn't get to use this in the game because nobody else is really running Lobot. So this was just like discard for a reroll kind of thing. We have 1 Fight Back from the draft set, 1 cost, remove 1 of your dice to remove a die showing damage, either ranged, melee, or indirect. We had 1 Imperial Backing, 2 cost, has ambush, Play a support from your hand, decreasing its cost by 1 for each character you have. One game I played this, paid 2, and was able to get my Fang Fighter out for free. It's pretty cool. Have 1 lockdown, 0 cost, has ambush. Spot 2 red characters to take control of the battlefield. Never really had to use this because I was mostly in control of the battlefield for most of the games I was in. We only played 2 games, so I ended up going 1-1. But I'll tell you a little bit about that in a second. So I had 1 parry, 1 cost, remove a die showing melee damage. I had 1 partnership, 0 cost, activate one of your characters and one of your supports. Then you may spend 1 resource to take an additional action. So I was able to, roll out the Fang Fighter and roll out Veers, roll out Lobot because Lobot had Wingman on him as well. We had 1 red alert, 3 cost, ready a non-unique red character. We had 1 resourceful, spot a great character and remove one of your dice to gain 1 resource. No great characters, but I decided to put this in the deck just to have it so I could use it for rerolls. We had 1 salvo, 2 cost, resolve one of your dice showing range damage against each of an opponent's characters. So I actually got that to go off in 1 game. We had 1 suppression, 0 cost, remove one of your red dice showing range damage, then remove an opponent's die. Had this actually go off as well, so I was able to remove Veers' +2 because there was no other dice to resolve with it. Remove that +2 range and remove an opponent's die. 1 surprise attack, 1 cost, resolve one of your dice showing damage, either ranged melee or indirect, increasing its value by 1. You had 1 tactical mastery, 1 cost, spot a rare character to take up to 2 additional actions. 1 targeting computer, 1 cost, turn a support or upgrade die to any side. And finally, we have 1 we have them now. 2 cost, play only if you control the battlefield. Turn up to 4 of your dice to side showing damage, either ranged or melee. I imagine this is going to work for indirect now because in the rules update, they said anything in parentheses basically showing damage now includes indirect. So again, I went 1-1 with this deck. I first played against a deck running Hera, Kanan, and Bala. I barely won that game. That's a game where I was able to survive by using closing the net so I didn't get milled out. So then I had enough damage on the E-Web, because I had the E-Web on a 2 side, and I had the Magna Guard also on a 2 side, and I also had the resources to spend to resolve both of those. So I ended up doing 5 damage to Politic to win. Next game I ended up losing, and it was against a Wookie Warrior, Admiral Ackbar, and Anakin. So the Wookie Warrior could definitely hit hard, so I got wiped out by the Wookie Warrior, as well as the melee damage from Anakin, and he also had the Vibro Axe on Anakin as well. But I feel I did built a better deck this time than I did last week. So again, last week I think I was running, and I started off with Guavian Enforcer. Was it Guavian? I don't even remember what I ran last time. It was not a good deck, but this deck was a lot more fun. I felt really got use of the all the supports I was using. So didn't really use the Wing Guard, but I used the E-Web, the Fang Fighter, and the Outpost as well. And I got Outpost to go off once where I was able to resolve the Magna Guard's die for free, and then still continue around because the special on Outpost lets you resolve the battlefield as if you had just claimed it. So that triggers, and then the round continues. Fang Fighter did pretty well, so it's got those 2 damaged sides. It also has ambush. And then the E-Web I was able to get to use pretty well as well. Did some good damage with this, especially since I controlled the battlefield. All the damage on the die was increased. And then gained a couple resources out of Aftermath. So this is my second time drafting. I think draft is really fun. And then I ended up with some pretty good cards as well after we did our picks at the end. I got a second Krennic and a second Obi-Wan from Spirit of Rebellion. I only had 1 of each of those. And then a few random rares and things like that. So that's going to do it for this video. The giveaway for the Ultimate Guard deck box and Packs of Destiny is still going on. There'll be a link in the description where you can check that out. That's going to do it for this video. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Take care.